Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. Matthew 5:9. On a hillside, one fresh morning, as sunlight began to pierce through the branches of the olive trees, Jesus sat down, surrounded by his disciples, and a crowd of people from all walks of life. There were the poor, the sick, curious Roman soldiers, and even some Pharisees discreetly observing from a distance. And then he began to speak. It wasn't the voice of a politician or a military leader, but a gentle voice, full of power, capable of piercing the heart like a stream of sweet water flowing through a dry desert. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. The disciples fell silent. In their eyes was a mix of surprise and stirring emotions. Peace? But they were living in an oppressed land, under harsh rulers, amidst uprisings, desecrated temples, and divided hearts even among their own people. Could peace really be the choice of a wise man in such a world? A different vision from the Master. When he spoke of peace, Jesus was not referring to the forced silence imposed by swords and spears. Nor was he speaking of convenient deals between rival factions. Jesus spoke of a peace that ran deep, where God dwells within the human heart, where enemies become friends, and where forgiveness dissolves long-standing hatred. Paul, once Saul, was a persecutor, a man consumed by anger and division. Yet after his fall from his horse, he became a herald of peace, proclaiming the message of a crucified Christ, crucified for love, for reconciliation between God and humanity. And Simon, nicknamed the Zealot, who had once been ready to use violence to reclaim his people's freedom, now sat quietly, listening, like a child longing for his mother's milk. He looked at the teacher, and in the teacher's eyes he saw no trace of hatred, only a powerful love, strong enough to forgive even his executioners. Who are the peacemakers? Jesus didn't only praise those courageous enough to stand between warring sides and broker peace. He also spoke of those who begin within, a wife who forgives a betraying husband, a father who wipes his tears and embraces the prodigal son, a friend who dares to say sorry first, even when not entirely wrong. It is also the person who dares to speak the truth in love, who refuses to let injustice go unchecked, yet still honors the dignity of the one in the wrong. It's the one who steps into the middle of conflict to become a bridge, even when they risk being rejected or hurt. Jesus never romanticized this role. Peacemaking is a path of the cross. He himself lived it completely. He reconciled the outcast, dined with tax collectors, spoke with the Samaritan woman, touched the leper, and in the end, stretched out his arms on the cross to bring peace between heaven and earth. Why are the peacemakers called children of God? Because they live as the Father does, loving without boundaries, merciful in judgment, and always desiring good for others.
They don't just reconcile human relationships, they become instruments through which God Himself becomes present in the world. When a person chooses forgiveness over revenge, understanding over judgment, silence in love rather than victory in argument, they reflect the face of God, our merciful Father.
In our modern world full of conflict, hatred, and growing division, where social media can turn people into enemies over a simple difference of opinion, the words of Jesus still echo. A challenge, but also a light of hope. Blessed are the peacemakers. Maybe you can't end a war across the globe, but you can be the one to end an argument in your home. Maybe you can't change national policies, but you can choose to forgive someone who's hurt you. You can be the first to reach out and say, let's make peace. And when you do that, you're not just making peace. You're living as a child of God. Because our Father in heaven is still building peace, bit by bit, through your heart.